one of them who will speak, Jerome, who has a remarkable story to tell. 21 years of his life that were taken away, and might not have been had the bill that we will be talking about today been into effect. And I cannot be more pleased to be here and with the privilege of being able to sign this important bill. Accordingly, we are joined by Senator Nancy Skinner, who has been working so effectively to address the cause of reimagining our juvenile justice system in the state of California, and doing so in a way that rights the wrongs of the past, but doesn't repeat mistakes going forward. And I think, without getting into the weeds of this year's discussions around this bill, I can only say it was improved upon every single day by the input of so many of you that are assembled, by recognizing that we still had a long way to go. And while we had broad strokes, a good direction, a desire originally to move DJJ into Health and Human Services, and then a new approach to more broadly move the system back to the counties, but to do so in a way where we had real oversight, real money, an effective framework, and an HSS mindset. All of you on this call demanded more of us, and Senator Skinner met every single one of those moments by putting amendments into play and moving those amendments forward with her colleagues. And so I just want to express real gratitude to all of you on the hard work navigating these bills and how meaningful these bills will be, we think, to thousands and thousands of young people in their lives and the trajectory of their lives going forward. I also want to just thank Jessica, my team, who's here, worked so hard on these bills. The Ledge team we always often overlook, and she was part of a series of bills today, and I just want to thank her very publicly, Ana Montesantos, a number of other people that care deeply about this space and put a little extra time into so many of these bills. They just didn't just dial in, and they paid a real personal, they paid a personal attention to these bills as well. So look, I want to start with Senator Bradford, because Senator, these horror stories that brought this bill to light are pretty traumatic and pretty extraordinary. And you think you're just watching a TV program when you watch some of these interrogations and you're realizing those aren't fiction, that's reality. And Jerome will talk about his own reality in that respect. But Senator, thank you for making this thing happen, and thank you for doing justice to juvenile justice and to making sure people have due process and their rights are asserted, and we can't take advantage of these young people any longer because of what you have done. So Senator, why don't you take it from here and explain in more detail the tenets of this bill, but thank you for everything you did.
Well, thank you, Governor, for your leadership and your commitment to improving our criminal justice system for all Californians, but especially our youth who have fallen victim to a system that's been grossly unbalanced. I introduced this bill because of individuals like Jerome Dixon, who you will hear from shortly, Art Tobias, and of course, the Central Park Five. These were youth who were pressured into giving false confessions and have lost years of their lives in prison as consequences because they were unable to have an attorney present to explain their rights to them. If the current occupier of the White House would have had it his way, the Central Park Five would have lost their lives because he literally advocated for the execution. So imagine innocent people that could have possibly been killed because of the craziness and insanity of people just assuming your guilt. What is also most alarming is that 36% of people who falsely confessed to crimes and were later exonerated were under the age of 18. This is surely not justice, and California's criminal justice system should be better than this. And because of you, Governor, it will be better than this. You should not be afraid of talking to law enforcement. You should trust law enforcement, and much of the trust comes with knowing and understanding their rights. But law enforcement needs to respect these young people and their rights. We know from decades of research that young people are less likely to understand their rights and the consequences of waiving them and what could affect their lives long term. It's even proven that many adults don't understand what waiving their rights mean. We know that the system is disproportionately impacts the poor and people of color. But this new law will help protect all young Californians. And again, we want to thank the governor. Also want to commend the many organizations and supporters who worked on this bill to bring it to where it is today and help make our criminal justice system not only better, but fair for all. I just want to recognize Anti-Recidivism Coalition, Esteban Torres, Scott Butnick, the Human Rights Watch, and the National Center on Youth and Law, LA Lakers, Cut 50, the San Francisco District Attorney, just many people who worked to get us to where we are today. But I want to also give a special shout out to my staffer, Chris Morales, for all of his hard work of bringing all the coalition together, working with the governor's staff to get us to where we are today. I want to also thank my colleagues, both Democrats and Republicans, who supported this bill. This was truly a bipartisan effort, and I want to recognize Assemblywoman Waldron for her leadership and helping us move this on her side of the House. I want to, again, thank the governor for your vision, your leadership, and your commitment to real criminal justice reform in the state of California. And now I want to introduce my esteemed colleague and chair of Senate Public Safety, none other than Senator Nancy Skinner.
Thank you, Senator Bradford. It's incredibly always good to work with you, and we have done lots of good. We have made good trouble together.
Yes,
Let's
we have.
put it that way. Governor Newsom, I have to thank you and your staff and the Senate and Assembly budget and other staff and the many, many justice, youth, health, and other advocacy groups up and down the state that have worked so long to reach this moment. And the moment I'm talking about is a different bill. It's a budget bill, SB 823, which we are looking forward to your next action on. It is monumental for juvenile justice in California. Brain scientists, doctors, educators, social service professionals, so many are clear that young people who act out and engage in criminal behaviors need trauma-informed care. They need help that can diagnose a learning disability or other disability, treat an underlying mental or physical health issue, or so much more. And Governor, you initiated this back in 2019 when you, in your January budget, made the announcement to move the State Department of Juvenile Justice into Health and Human Services. And SB 823 builds on that. And it even improves it because it recognizes that keeping youth locally, not in state youth prisons, is the best approach. And many have worked tirelessly for decades to convert our system to reflect this. Our state juvenile prisons went from a high of 10,000 young people to now currently under 1,000. Now the transition that 823 lays out has to be managed carefully and collaboratively with our local government and our community-based partners so that we do right for our youth and everyone involved. But I'm confident that, Governor, your administration will manage that well. And I really look forward to our continued partnership in improving the lives of all Californians, especially those who are young, developing, and vulnerable. And now I'm very proud to introduce Jerome Dixon, who, as I believe Senator Bradford referenced, at 17 was arrested, age 17, was arrested and interrogated by law enforcement for 25 hours, and then served 21 years in prison. Jerome's experience is exactly the type of situation that Senator Bradford's bill, SB 203, will prevent. Jerome Dixon.
Thank you, Senator Skinner, Bradford, Governor. 30 years ago in 1990, I was a 17-year-old child interrogated by the Oakland Police Department for murder, robbery that I didn't commit. I was intimidated, pressured, and coaxed into a false confession. I served 21 and a half years in prison. The parole board acknowledged my innocence and granted me parole in 2011. In retrospect, I had no knowledge of my rights. I didn't know what Miranda rights were. I didn't know I had a right to counsel. I was scared, naive, alone, and forced under duress to lie because I didn't know what else to do. No child should ever be forced to lie about crimes they did not commit because of ignorance and lack of legal representation. Today, I speak for countless children under the age of 18 who may be placed in strenuous situations with no knowledge of their legal rights. Now, because of Senate Bill 203, those children will no longer fall into the unnecessary legal nightmares like I am enduring today. Governor, thank you for signing Senate Bill 203 into law and leading the way for justice reform in California. Other states will applaud you for guiding and protecting countless children and their families. Thank you again, Senator Bradford and Skinner, for allowing me to be the voice of this bill. Elizabeth Calvin and the Human Rights Watch, thank you for supporting and putting a magnifying glass on juvenile interrogation methods. My family, my girlfriend, a big shout out to Scott, my ARC brothers and sisters. And I have to conclude by saying, you know, despite going through all of that, I do not harbor any animosity towards the system or law enforcement or the justice system for a group of small individuals that had something to do with the injustice that I was served. They don't represent the masses. And I will tell everybody on this Zoom call today with confidence that I still believe in the mantra of protecting and serving, as long as they are doing it according to the law. Yeah. So again, thank you all for having me. And I really appreciate this moment.
Appreciate your spirit. Appreciate those comments, Jerome. I'm upset someone didn't return my call yesterday. I can't, God bless you. Talk about maturity. Hey, at peril here, just because I appreciate you name check two people, Elizabeth and Scott, and you happen just to be on my screen together. I'd be remiss. Elizabeth, you want to just say a couple words, Scott, a couple words, because I know how hard you both worked on these bills.
Scott, go ahead.
I want to.
Well, I mean, I'm sitting here choking back tears. Okay. So, Governor Newsom, both of these bills are about protecting children. Both of them are about making sure that they have all of their potential realized. And, I just think that this is about child protection. And it's just very powerful that you're signing these into law. And I thank Senator Bradford for stepping up and really running with this. And I thank Senator Skinner for your vision and willingness to push through to the end on these issues. So thank you to all three of you. I'm going to go back to crying now. Here's a joy.
Sweet. Scott.
Thanks, Governor. It's just a beautiful moment. I just got off a 3-day whitewater rafting trip with about 6 of these folks that are on the Zoom right now that spent many years in prison, folks I knew in juvenile hall that are now young men and older men. I see faces of people I've known since they were 15 and did many, many years in prison or did years in DJJ. And to just know that you and your team, Governor, understand the power, the potential, the change, the transformation, the redemption of many of the people that you see on this call, and know that a horrible act that's done when someone is young doesn't define them forever, and to actually create systems and sign legislation that continues to highlight that really bipartisan understanding and belief in change and redemption and justice and mercy and grace is just a beautiful thing to witness. And I'm honored to be here today. And I just want to thank Senator Skinner and Senator Bradford and you, Governor, and your entire team for figuring out compromise, for figuring out how to get this done, and for leading us to all be here today for this special moment. Thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Scott. Thank you. And again, Jerome, thank you so much for your example and for your participation today. Senator Bradford, Senator Skinner, again, thank you for your leadership. And I, you know, in the spirit, particularly as we transition and we'll shut down that intake middle of next year, and then we'll have a process. And just want folks to know, I get it, that we can't be ideological in terms of how we process this. We got to be open to argument, interested in evidence. We've got to be vigilant in making sure we do this right. And so I just want everybody to know that we recognize that we have a lot of work to do on this journey together as we move forward. And so with that, in the spirit of moving forward, let's get to these two bills. Senator Bradford, SB 203.
And Governor, can I just make one small correction?
All right, maybe you got an amendment?
No. I just want to thank Esteban Nunez. I said Torres. I want to thank Esteban for all his hard work. That's all.
No, that's awesome. All right. I was only halfway signing it. You never know. All right.
Need to quit while I was ahead.
It's done. God bless. Appreciate you, Jerome. Thank you for the spirit. We're here because of you, brother. Thank you, man. And then here is, you know, it is a committee on the budget bill. It doesn't have, and I appreciate the technical points Senator Skinner made, but substantively, this is the DJJ bill. And so, Senator, thanks again for all your hard work. It happened. Law in the state of California. God bless you all. Thank you, everybody. Keep up the great work. Really appreciate it.
Governor, appreciate you.